Good morning everyone, another video update. It's Wednesday morning. Last time I'd made a big hole and I thought I'd done about as much chopping as I needed to do, but I have found a little bit more rust than again I thought I had. Oh, look at that, a nice smouldering fire coming off the insulation pad. That's from, ow, yeah, it's hot, it's my grinding. Yes, down in this area it all looked like surface rust, and I was really happy because the wing also looked really nice from the outside, but unfortunately stone chip was hiding more rust. This was the outer edge of the front wing, and you can see it's not actually rusty, but it was being held to the inner sill by a screw, and that's because on the back side the inner sill had rotted away and this was just flapping around in the wind. So I thought, oh dear, I'm gonna have to chop the inner sill a bit out. So I chopped the bottom of the wing off, and then when I did that I found that the actual base of the sill down here was a bit crusty. The good news is the rest of it is now all really fine. There's still cavity wax in here that goes liquid when I heat it, so all nicely protected, but it does mean that I've got more work to do before I can put the floor back in, because I need to first off fabricate the inner sill, then I need to remake the sill to that, and then put the wing on the top. Fortunately I picked up the other day some more scrap panels off a guy who'd started restoring a car and gave up, and unpicked some of the panels and then sold them to me. This thing, it's the wrong side of the car, but you can see the construction. This is not put together right at all. It's all wrong, so kind of good that he stopped fixing up his car in a way. That should be a lot lower, but that's the inner sill. So I can actually cut that out and reverse it. That is the inner wheel well bit that I'm also missing. And then on the bottom, this is how that sill area should look. So I can use some of this for donor bits, but I probably won't bother because it's all the reverse, the wrong side of the car. But at least you can see the 3 layers that go together to make up this one little area, and then in fact 4 when the wing goes on top. Pretty complicated. Again, I'm not going crazy filming as I fabricate stuff because it's all covered in other videos, but yeah, that's patch number 1. That'll go on the inside of the sill and create that bit that I'm missing, and then I can work my way back off that to do all the other pieces. So we have panel made up. Note I've put a hole in there for plug welding. All of that is now treated, cleaned up, rust free. This can go in on top like that and shall be welded, so I won't probably bother putting the fluting in. Depends how much heat I get into that area. I might try and tap it in, I might not bother, we shall see. But yeah, I'm going to go and get the welder now. Hopefully some of that got recorded on the GoPro. We have new patch welded in, spot welded or plug welded through onto the inner sill stiffener thing, and then just welded in along there. Didn't bother hammering the fluting in because it would have just torn and stretched it. But yeah, that's all a real nice solid inner sill now, so I can weld my floor onto it, my chassis rail stiffener thing, and then build the rest of the floor up. I think I'm now going to revert back to the chassis rail itself. Again, in my cave of wonders, because I am such an SD1 hoarder, we have a brand new old stock chassis rail, like so. I can't remember which side that is. I think that is near side, but for the bit I need, it doesn't matter. I'll just chop that end off, chop it about here. You can see where some of those holes had developed, there was already holes in the car where there were drain plugs and captive threads for bits and pieces. These incidentally are the holes for the brake line to attach to, or the fuel line, sorry, because this would have been the near side. I will have a look. I think I've probably got an offside somewhere. It'll just be buried, so it'd be better if I could get an offside one, because then I won't have to drill holes for the brake lines. Ta-da! Found one. So that is the correct one for that side of the car. I just need to hack it up and weld it in. We have chassis rail cut down, trimmed to size. It's one of those fiddly annoying jobs, very time consuming, takes for ages. You don't want to chop too much off because you'll end up with a big gap to fill. You don't want to go you know, too conservative or you'll be there all day, so that's about right. I'm going to tack it in place and see what it looks like. The original plan was to weld fillets inside and make it nice and strong. I probably still will do that, but for the moment I'm just going to, before I put fillets in, I want to weld as much as possible, because I can actually get to all of the interior and all of the exterior as well. So theoretically this can be an invisible repair. That would be nice, and although it is a structural piece of the car, this is a monocoque, so the load is distributed throughout this area, so I don't anticipate any flexing, any great flexing or cracking. So I might be able to do it just by welding and not actually putting little tabs inside. But anyway, the first step either way will be to tack it, so I'll do that and see what happens. Mr. GoPro has died again, so I've been not filming this. I started by tacking it in just at the back centre bottom at those 2 points there, and then one in the middle bottom down there, and then I started welding for real. And the good news is that you can get really good access, really good penetration, really nice even heat. And I haven't touched this with a grinder yet. Hopefully you can see that's what it looks like from the outside. All the welding was done from the inside, but I've got really nice penetration and really just a shadow of where the two panels meet. I haven't made a decision yet still. I'm kind of feeling my way through this, but I think I'm just going to run beads down the outside, linish it smooth, not do any grinding to the inside, and that will be really strong. And then by the time I've got my footwell on the top, the other outrigger inside, and it all plug welded down, it should be good to go. So I'm not going to put little fillets in there. I think it'll be overkill and unnecessary, so I'm just going to do my very best to weld this. I've got the welder set up now for doing thicker steel, and it's working lovely, so I'm just going to crack on, do that, then go and have some lunch. The chassis rail is in. We have really nice welds in there, down the side, both sides. Hopefully you can see, where are we? There. That's done nicely. I've welded from the underside onto the lower panel of that on the back. Up here it was a bit more difficult. This is blobby, but what I've done, I've got the car really high, which means I can get right underneath here to put decent welds in down the sides, along the bottom, and then hopefully, where are we? Down there as well. While I was in the car, or underneath the car, so I should say, I also put a seam of weld in here just to tie the inner wheel well section to that new piece I've put in. Then I can put the sill back on, then I can put the wing back on. Right, it definitely is cup of tea time now, and probably lunch as well. But not bad for a morning's work. I think this afternoon I'll put the outrigger thing in and probably do the floor. Then I'll do the rest of it from outside. back from lunch. I've cleaned up the welds that I did. I was going to try and do it as an invisible repair, but I decided I don't mind that there is a little, you know, I haven't ground them dead flat. I would rather have it strong than have it looking pretty but being weak. So by the time it's got stone chip and underseal and stuff on it, it'll be fine. You won't really notice it, but well, first thing, you've got to be under the car to see it. But anyway, I'm really happy the way that's turned out. It's nice and straight. When you look along the line of the underside of the car, it's all correct. This is the outrigger thing. I've cleaned it up. I've still got some more cleaning to do, but it is made of pig iron essentially, and there's no way that's going to fail. They're exposed anyway. They just have to fill them with cavity wax afterwards. They're on the underside of the car. All of these drain holes are open, so there's no point going crazy. It's been like that for 35 years, so as long as I put lots of red oxide and then cavity wax, it'll be fine. I'm going to go get my donor floor and chop up the panel, because the inspection holes like these are in the floor over here, and that'll help me work out where this needs to go. So I can mock it all up, mark it, do the final rust treating, paint everything in red oxide in those bits, and the other side of the floor where I won't be able to get to it, then I can leave that to go off and then probably weld it in tomorrow. Wouldn't it be nice if it were that simple? But yeah, that's basically in. What do I need to do? Basically, need to mark with a pen where I need to trim that, then trim it, then put it back in again. Yippee! I think he must be a spy. It's weird, he definitely flies right over this place, and he does a bend as he does it, so I'm pretty sure he's just checking out Dotty. Maybe he's one of you, a fan, and he's tracked down where I live. Can't remember what I'm doing. Oh yeah, I just brought George Hoover out to feed him some disgusting filth out of the chassis rail. I've been scraping away in the end there so I can rust treat it nicely. So I'll get him hoovering, do the rest of the clean up. Going to weld my little piece in down there because I know where that goes now. And that's the panel, that will need cleaning up and painting too. That's the chassis raily thing after a bit more of a clean up. So that's all solid. By the time that's got Hydrate 80 and Bonder primer on it, that will be good for another 40 years. I marked where it needed to go by fitting the panel into the footwell and then marking it, so that's going to go like that, and then on the other side it's going to go like, well, I need a hammer to get it in there, but something like that, and I can weld it. Still just mocking up in here. That's where that chassis ready thing I think needs to go, about there. These inspection holes need to sit exactly above it, so when this is in, like that, it comes back a bit, yeah, that's about right. So I'm happy that is in position. See daylight through that hole, which is right, so that's all good. The reason this is important is because I'm going to need to drill spot weld holes or plug weld holes in here to pick up on it and along that chassis rail too, and yet I want to have nice welds all the way around there. So what I'll do now, let's go and get a pen. Once I'm happy that's in position, make a reference outline scribe or lines all the way around here, so I know where that's got to go back on afterwards. Annoyingly, I might have left it a bit short up there, you can see a bit of daylight, but I think I'll be able to make that up anyway with a bit of creative welding. I might actually be able to rotate this panel around, stretch it up that way. We shall see. We've got that welded in now. It's welded at the tops, and then fillets down the sides as well, both sides, both ends, all in and done. And then the bit that goes onto the underside of the chassis rail, you'll see the heat come through there. It would originally have had one spot weld in the middle, I think. I can't remember now. But basically I've welded it all the way around, so it's in there nice and solid, like so. That's it for welding for today. Now it's all prep work and painting ready for tomorrow. So I'm going to clean up some of those welds, degrease all of that area, then red oxide and hydrate 80 in there. Where it's nice clean metal, it'll just be red oxide. Where it's got some pitting corrosion, I'll use a hydrate 80. Then I'm going to degrease that bit and paint the bits that I won't be able to get to, drill the plug weld holes. Usual story. It's one of those irritating days where, despite saying it's going to be dry, it has actually started to rain. So I'm packing up. All I've done is slapped a bit of hydrate 80 on the worst bits. If it stops raining later, I'll come back and I'll red oxide the other bits. Other than that, we are done for today. Oh, I don't think I've actually sworn in this video yet. You were waiting for it, weren't you? But I'm not going to do it. I'm going to tidy up instead. Another day, a little bit more work done. All of that is de-rusted, degreased and painted in red oxide. That's the panel ready to go back in. You're looking at the underside of it. And I've drilled all of my holes for plug welding. And then I've also painted red oxide on the bits that will form the upper surface of those box sectiony bits, and which I won't be able to get to paint afterwards. All the shiny silver bits I can get to from underneath the car, and all of that will be done in black epoxy and then stone chip. So I'm going to wait for that to go off, go and get the welder and a scribe, and then lay that on top, tack it in a few places, press it down, and then scribe through all of the holes to get the red oxide off the bits that I want to then weld. Okay, got Mr. Mig on the case. Put a couple of tacks in just down here along the right side, and then I've been hitting this down, cleaning up the paint with a scribe, and then turning the heat up when I've got to do a plug weld to get really good penetration. It's really important that those panels are right on top of each other and you've got enough current flowing through that weld pool to get the penetration on the bit underneath, because obviously that's 2mm and the skin on the top is about 0.9. So I'm going to concentrate on doing those first. If I do the ones around the edge, then I have to really beat that down to sit on top of that chassis rail. I want it the other way around. This stuff's easy to move, that stuff harder. So I'm going to do those first and then go around the edge, seam weld it in. It's going to take a while. And it was going so well. Most of that is now in, but unfortunately I've now run out of MIG wire. So I'm going to have to get a wriggle on, get some pretty goddamn fast. That will end today's video. It's a shame, but yeah, until I get more wig wire there ain't a lot else I can do. Just missed him again. I left the camera in the house. Never mind. I am bodging some more MIG wire into my welder. I remembered I did actually have an old roll that came out of a scrap welder I found at work, and the reel is the wrong size, so I've had to bodge it into place using actually a suspension bushing down the back, but it works. I just need to feed that through and then crack on with the welding. Floor pan welded in, complete all the way up into that corner, all the way along the side. Got a bit messy down there, but meh, it's fine. So that all needs cleaning up. Red oxiding, seam sealing, and then it will be really good clean-up, I think, inside the car, because tomorrow the glass gets fitted. I might also do a bit more rust prevention around the rear quarter lights and tailgate, just because they're problem areas, and while I've got good access, I thought I could, if I can paint those edges, then should keep it good for years to come. Floor pan welding complete. Still haven't done that bottom right hand corner on the outside. Everything inside is done, but I'm just going to paint that now, seam seal it, carry on. Righty ho, I've started unmasking bits of the car for the next stage. That's the inside of the footwell gone off, so I can do the seam sealing in a minute. Up here I've taken the plastic sheet out and I've just masked off, because what I want to do is paint all of these window apertures with epoxy mastic now, so that when the glass goes in, there's absolutely no way water can get in any of these channels and start rotting it. I'm also going to paint the tops of these panels in epoxy as well, just because I'll have to mix a bit up and I might as well paint it on there and protect it. So masked up all the way around the screen where that goes in, and around this window as well. The side trims, Dotty never had them. For some reason they'd either been removed or lost or whatever, but it didn't have these trims that go on the rear quarters, and it didn't have the gutter rail trims. These are affixed to the actual window seals. Obviously these are old ones that I've hacked off, but the chromey bit goes on the brand new seal, the glass goes in, and then the whole assembly goes in the car, and then the actual chrome is held to the car itself using little spring clips which sit on little plastic wedges, which then get riveted onto the car on these holes, and then one at each end, and then this just should clip down and engage, but it can be a right fiddle. So I am going to fit the clips and the wedges, get everything done, and then paint it, and then hopefully we should be good to go. Nice straightforward job tomorrow. The other thing I'm going to do is paint the actual lip of the tailgate aperture, the actual bit of the car, because it's green on the outside, it's still silver on the inside, and obviously that bit is new and I put in, and what I don't want is for that to start rusting again. So yeah, plenty to do. I won't bother recording so much of it, I'll just show you when it's done. Okay, in my pot I have my mixed up Jotun 87 epoxy mastic. I don't think they make the 87 anymore, I think they've replaced it with something, but basically it's really tough paint for bottom of oil rigs, shipping generally, fishing trawlers, all that sort of stuff. If you put it on something, it usually wants to be on a good key, but with fresh paint it should stick fine anyway. But yeah, it sticks like a bitch when it's on there, and should protect it all nicely. So I've also marked stuff in and around the boot lip anyway, because this is another problem area on SD1s. They'd have to rot in here because the water just sits against the inside and then rots that. So I'm going to paint in there as well. You won't see it when it's done because it all gets hidden by rubber trim, plastic trim panels, and the tailgate will be shut, so you won't see it anyway. But it should keep the car rust free for a lot longer than originally intended. So that's all good. So I'm just going to paint it on. Okay, well that is done. I've really dribbled the paint in all of the little cracks, so fingers crossed it shouldn't rust in that manner again, or if it does, it'll be a while until it does. While I had the paint tin out, I also did in and around that scuttle. Remember back to how this car was going to be originally, I didn't intend to do any work to the scuttle panel whatsoever. When it went green, obviously that seal came out and all the rest of it, and it did expose a few bits of rust. So a bit of the lip has gone in a couple of places. So I can't really do anything about that now, so all I've done is rust treated it and then painted it with the Jotun, and fingers crossed it stays okay. I also had a bit more, so I did inside here with the Jotun again, where they had to weld. I've done up under there because again they had to do a lot of welding there, and I've put a little splash on the bottom of the rad brackets and just stuff like that, just to use up the paint really. I will come back and address those areas properly at a later date. I have made one rather irritating discovery, and this sort of thing always happens, but you remember where I cut the gutter rails off and really worked them to get them back together? Unfortunately, we already have rust developing in here. So what I'm going to have to do, I mean originally it would all be seam sealed down here, and it isn't at the moment. So as this flexes, it's just going to fill with water and then rot out. So I'm going to have to get the Dremel, grind, I mean there's some filler in there, you can see, or I can see in here, some of it is just polish. But yeah, I'm going to have to get the grinder in there, grind all of that out without wrecking the paint. Then I am going to have to rust treat it and then paint it green with a brush very, very goddamn carefully. I have still got about 2 litres of the green paint, which was supposed to be for the floor inside and the boot floor area, but I might have to sacrifice it for there. This side, there's no hint of that happening, so there's a bit up there, something funny going on there. But yeah, these bits will have to be treated because there's no point doing all the work and then it rusting straight away. I've also put dobs of black paint where I'm going to rivet those trim clips on. So I've got them ready, they can go in now. The only slight irritation is that the rivet gun binds against the clip like so it won't pull up without breaking the clip. So I'm going to stack little mini washers in there so that the rivet tool will act on the washers and then the head of the rivet and pull it up nicely without bending my little clip. Incidentally, if you do need these, Rimmer Brothers don't sell them, I don't think, but Bresco do. Bresco sell all of the fittings really for pretty much every British car made post-war, so if you ever need them, that's where to get them. The plastic angled bits, they did come from Rimmer Brothers. There's the part number. Okay, so the clips are on now. Didn't chip the paint, which is good. So next thing, prep the tailgate glass. This isn't particularly interesting, but it's all part of the story and illustrates just why stuff like this takes so long to do. That's the new screen. I've just dismantled it from its rubber and all the chrome trim, because although the chrome trim was sat in the seal quite nicely, you could see there was dirt between everything, and you could see that whatever the original sort of semi-hardenable, I think it is butyl type sealer, that had all gone hard and crusted off. So I am cleaning the hell out of everything with a scraper, some warm water, fairy liquid, and various scrubby brushes. The seal actually is remarkably good. It's still quite supple, which I was worried about. There is some corrosion in here. That all needs to come out. It's just bits from whatever rusty old car this came off, but all of that needs to be opened up, de-rusted, cleaned thoroughly, then clean the glass, clean the trims. This could take a couple of hours at least. This is why I'm going to all this trouble. That is the bit that the glass sits in, that channel there. You can see all of this here is the original sealer that's then gone brittle and hard. So you could put a new glass in there, you could fit it onto the new car, and the water would just go straight through into the boot. So as laborious as it is, it's got to be done. I think I'm on the home stretch now with this It has taken a long time. This last little bit, I've just got what's it called? Scotch-Brite wrapped around a paint stirrer. Then I'm ragging it up and down inside there, and it's coming out lovely. So I think one more side to do, and then I'm done with the seal. I can move on to the glass and the chrome. Really happy with that seal. That's going to work great. Chrome and trims are all cleaned up. I'll give them a final polish when they're in and on the car. Now I'm just doing the rear screen. There's remnants of some of that seal around there still. Got to get those stickers off and just give it a damn good clean, really. I'm going to use a razor blade just on there, some water, to try and cut that off. It should come off. Might be quite a boring process again. Yep. What do you know? Oh, here we go. Maybe some success. Yeah, the sticker is basically disintegrated in the UV light. Get that disgusting blue oval off there. This is a pedigree car, not some scumbag council estate car. Having said that, I do actually quite like Fords. I really want a Granada. And I used to have a Ford Orion, which was hilarious in how shit it was, but I did still love it. Done. I have met my deadline. Everything is ready. I just need the guy to turn up, do the glass tomorrow, and yeah, then I'll be putting the door glass in, which is always fun on these. At least it's got manual window winders, not electric, because they're just another degree of irritatingness. Cool. Right, well, I'm going to go in, order a curry, and upload this to the internet. See you later.